breaking transmission, internet issues. But we're back now, and before we went off, I was answering some of the questions that we have, and I was on the first question, which is what's the biggest mistake you see vendors make in trying to stand out or position themselves as a vendor of choice? Like I said earlier, I'm head of supply chain for Oando, so I interact with a lot of vendors. And one of the things that I've seen that people do is that they feel getting under your skin is the best way to get into your organization. But I can tell you for free, it's not. The best way to get into an organization is that when a due diligence exercise is carried out on you as an organization, as a business, no matter how small you are, no matter what your turnover is, ensure that you have all the documents that you need to get registered. And like I said, it can just be you must, at the barest minimum, be registered with the CAC, that's the Corporate Affairs Commission. Whether as a business name or a limited liability company, whatever it is, get registered. The good thing is that once you register, for example, you register, and mind you, you can do this online by yourself. Just go on Google and type Corporate Affairs Commission registration. It takes you to their website. You put in your business name, it does a search for you. If the name is available, you're registered, you pay the money, and you get your documentation. The good thing is that once you are registered, as for your tax obligation, because you're a new business, you don't have any backlog. So all you do is that once you then go through a transaction, you've been paid. The company that you've worked for will take out the withholding tax. Your VAT is your obligation. Everything is sorted. As you go along the line, your tax obligations are met. So, like I said, one of the biggest mistake people make is that, oh, they feel I can just register a company and just put it down and I don't use it. Because trust me, the day you decide to then use this company, the tax authority will then ask you, how come you've not been paying your tax? So the earlier you start, the better. Get it registered. When you have to run a business, put it as your company name. When you are asked for your account number, please don't send your personal account number. Make sure it's your company, bank details, you register, open an account with your bank. When everything is fresh, it is very easy. And so the question then is somebody may be thinking, oh, I've been running my business for years. I didn't do all of this. It's never too late to correct the errors. It's never too late to start all over again. So in a nutshell, don't make that mistake of thinking that you can just do it as an individual, because it gets to a point that running your business as an individual will not take you to certain sectors. It will not take you to certain levels in your career as a businesswoman. I have another question. Does Oando have programs or give preference to women when dealing with vendors? First thing first, like I said, the gender parity expects you to do like a 60-40, but in Oando, we're trying to do a 50-50. But we do not compromise on the quality of work that is given. So we won't say because you're a woman, we are supposed to deliver on the 5th of November. Then you are bringing the goods on the 5th of March the following year. We do not compromise on quality. We do not compromise on doing things the right way. But like I said, the preference we have, and that is why we're having this forum, to bring women together, to give them that encouragement, that push, that nudge to say, you can do this, you can excel in what you're doing, and these are the things that you need to do. I have another question that says, is there a repository where women can access requirements across different sectors? Every sector have their own requirement. So, for example, in the oil and gas industry, regardless of the business you are running, you are required to register with the NURPC. That's the regulatory body for the oil and gas industry. So you have that obligation to be registered with them. And they have different categories. You have the 5,000 naira category, you have the 5 million naira category. So depending on where you are, the stage you are in your business, you can register and be able to compete in that field. There's another portal that is related to the oil and gas industry, and that is the NIPEX portal. That's in Nigerian Petroleum Exchange portal, where organizations go on there to register, and then the team within the system, they carry out an audit, and then they certify you, and then you are made active on that platform. Once you're active, any organization within the oil and gas industry that wants to engage companies within certain categories. So when you register on the NIPEX portal, for example, there are different categories. So once any organization within the oil and gas sector has a tender to run, you don't have to go to them, you don't have to lobby. All they go is go in that category, download all the companies that are registered under that category, and then you can participate in the tender. When you win, you pass the technical stage and you pass the commercial stage, you're awarded the contract. They don't need to know you, they don't need to see your face. And with this, you can then realize the importance of having a structure for your business as a woman, because what it does for you is that you don't, because the question really is, how many places can you be? How many organizations can you even get into? There are places that if you don't know anybody there, they won't even give you audience at the reception. But when you are properly set up, your status on those portals will speak for you, and you'll be able to participate in the tenders that are published. So the short answer is that yes, we have the NUPRC, you have the NIPEX portal, you have, even with Lagos State, for example, I know that there are a lot of companies, a lot of sectors within the Lagos State government as a whole that focus on improving women, that as a woman, once you put in your bid, you have some leverage. But like I said, quality is not something to be compromised. I have another question here. It says, do you think putting structure costs too much money, especially for small businesses, for a contract that you are not sure you will get? I love this question. It does cost money, but ask yourself, that business you're running, even before anybody told you, I'm going to patronize you, you invested some money in putting your goods, in buying those goods. You put in some effort in putting a structure around how you deliver your service. If, for example, you are a caterer, you go shopping, you buy things, you clean them up, you cook them. So if on that side you're spending money, you're spending time, you're putting in your resources, you're asking people to help you. So why on this other side do you think that what you're putting in is waste? It's not. I agree with you, it costs money, but it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Like I said, you can just do the barest minimum of registering as a business name. If you have to register with the NURPC, you can do the barest minimum of maybe the 5,000 naira or the 15,000 naira registration. So if you have a vision for your business, like I said at the beginning, if you want this business to outlive you, if you want it to be a business where when you as a forerunner is no longer able to run around, your children can take over this business, your protege can take up this business, people that you have groomed can actually be there to support you, then you know that any amount you spend, any effort you make is not a waste. So putting structure, it does cost money, but it's worth it. I have another question. Are there institutions, groups, or pools, for lack of a better word, that corporate organizations go to find vendors. Yes, I think I answered this question earlier. There are portals that people go to, organizations go to, whether in the government sector, there are portals, whether in the IOCs, the oil and gas industry, the banking industry. A lot of these companies they advertise. For example, if you even if you don't know somebody directly within the organization, there are tenders that are published. For example, with Lagos State, there are tenders that are published. I know that the Lagos State Trust Fund for Entrepreneurs also, they have a lot of these adverts that they publish. The simple thing, just go on Google and type tenders available in say November, tenders 2020, 2022. Just go on Google, type it, and you will see a lot of these links. Like I said, LSTEF, NUPRC, NIPEX, and the rest of them. So there are portals that you can go to get some of this information. I have another question. It says, what specific things are company missing out by not maximizing the talents of women in corporate contracts? The truth of the matter is that we have a lot of businesses out there. For example, let's take a very simple supply of, say, paper for printing, for example. We have 1,001 companies out there that are providing this service. So really, companies are not missing out in getting people to render services to them or to supply goods to them. What is only happening is that, like I said at the beginning, we have over 43 million women that are running businesses in Nigeria. But out of that 43 million, only 20% are able to work with companies like Oando, work with companies that are structured, that have their procurement policies and processes in place. So companies are not missing out. You just need to ask yourself as a woman in business, do I want to play at certain level? And if your answer is yes, then you must start putting structure in place. You must start being intentional about putting structures in place for your business so that out of the 1,001 businesses that supply paper, for example, by the time companies like Oando put their due diligence process to test these businesses, your own will be successful. The other ones around can be successful, and then we begin to have more women provide service in the formal sector. I have another question. It says, how can women help companies identify bias in the workplace and also help companies work on eliminating these biases? Um, like I said, what we're doing today in Oando is to eliminate some of these biases. We want to work with women-owned businesses. In fact, we have a lot of programs, and this is just one of many of such programs. We are ultimately looking at the possibility of linking some of these women that have scaled some of the initial tests, that have passed some of the initial tests. We are looking at being able to connect them with organizations that fund women, connect them with organizations that are able to help them take their businesses to the next level. So this is why we're doing what we're doing today. Take out those biases, let women know out there that organizations are not against them. As a matter of fact, all we see is the name of the company, not necessarily the human beings that are running it. But the only way we can then begin to connect the name to the face is in the structure that you then put in place, is in you passing the due diligence process, is in you understanding that running a business in Nigeria, you can be successful. You don't have to go around bribing people. You don't have to go around lobbying. All you need to do is put certain structure in place, and then you begin to attract your likes. I hope that answered that question. Also, someone said some women who have worked their way to winning big contracts, how did they do it? It's the same thing we've been saying. These women, I'm sure if I mention some businesses that are owned by women today, from where I sit as head of supply chain, what I have seen is that we have a lot of women that are very passionate about what they do. We have a lot of women that have gone extra mile to put structure around what they do. We have a lot of businesses that are owned by women that, whether they are on ground or not, things are running. Not to go into too much of the details, some years ago, there's a company that does a lot with event management, and the owner passed. And the way the organization continued to be able to still render service was amazing. The only reason that could happen is because structure was in place. The case I mentioned was in the sector was in event management. There's another business I know, I won't mention the name, where the owner passed on. But the business continued. They have spa and all of these things where women go to just do some, even men, everybody goes there to just take care of themselves. And this business still continued. The only way they've been able to do it, even for women, a lot of business that are still running, the owners are alive and well. But the owner is able to take a vacation. The owner is able to say, oh, I'm going to resume at 11 because there are structures in place. They know how to monitor things. They know how to, work in a way that with or without them, the businesses are still running. So the question I want you as a woman to ask yourself right now is that the business I'm running, if I step away for a week, what will happen? And you need to test it actually. You need to put it to test. Ask yourself, will the business continue if I'm away for a week? If your answer is no, then you need to then sit down and ask yourself, what are the things I need to put in place? What are the things I need to begin to do differently? When you have identified these things, implement them. When you have when you have done the implementation and it's run for like maybe 3 to 6 months or 1 year, then put it to test. Step away for a week or two and then see how things work. And if you still find some gaps, then ask yourself, because there's what you call the root cause analysis, where you are asking layers of why. Why is my business not able to run without me? If you fix some things and you still put that test to it again and ask why some things are still not going on, then go back to the drawing the board and put those things in place. Run it for another 6 months to 1 year, put it to test again. I think that's how I believe, because like they say, Rome was not built in a day. To have that multi-million naira, multi-million dollar business as a woman, it's not something that can happen in a day. You must have continuous improvement in place. You must be able to empower yourself. There are a lot of free seminars like what we're doing today is free. The subsequent ones that we're going to be doing is free. You can go on YouTube, even if you are a tailor and you believe that the limitation you have is in sketching your designs. Go on YouTube, go on the internet. There are free courses for some of these things. Take those courses, improve yourself, come back to the drawing board, implement those things. And as you do it, you see that little by little, step by step, day by day, month by month, your business will improve. And that's how those that have done it big time, that's how they do it. I have another question. It says, what are the red flags women should avoid while negotiating a corporate contract? Good. I love this question. Sometimes you let's take an example. You've been asked to supply this mouse in my hand. So meaning that you've passed through the due diligence process, you've been registered as a vendor, because that's the only way you can get to negotiating a contract. and you've been asked to supply 5,000 of this item, and something happened within the organization and they realized, oh, we can't afford 5,000. We can only do 200. And for a woman in business, I know you know how to calculate your profit. Because they told you you were going to supply 5,000, you've given them a particular price. And now they've come back and they've told you, sorry, it's just 200. The tendency is to say, sorry, I can't do it, because your profit margin has just gone from this place to this place. But there's still a profit margin. My advice to you is that you take that job. Take it, because that's your entrance into that organization. Take it, go in there, because the next time they then want the 5,000, because you've supplied the 200, they've seen the quality of the job you can do. They've seen that they told you to deliver it in 3 months and you delivered it in 6 weeks. They've seen the quality the of how you even engaged them. Then the day they need 5,000, the day they need 10,000, there will be no doubt as to whether you can do it. So in negotiating your contract, one of the things I say to anybody, whether you are the one awarding the contract or you are the one implementing or performing the contract, don't cut to the bone. Don't allow any organization push you to the point where you then reduce your quality or reduce your standard. And when I say quality and standard, I'm not talking about somebody being overly, high-ended. What I'm saying is that within the confines of doing business in the right way, ensure that you don't cut to the bone. So if, for example, you've bidded for this item at, say, $3 per item, because you thought they were going to order 5,000, and now they're telling you it's 200, and your profit margin has reduced from, say, $300 to $20. I would say take it. Like I said, it's an inroad into that organization. But don't ever take a contract where you make no profit or you're even making a loss. I would even say you can do it without making profit for the sake of getting into the organization if you must. But never do it at a loss to the extent that you then begin to reduce your quality. Because the moment your quality drops, nobody talks to you again. The moment what you have supplied cannot stand the test of time. And guess what? We're talking to women that are trying to develop their business. So you can't afford to put the wrong foot forward. So in negotiating your contract, don't cut to the bone. Negotiating your contract, don't get to the point where you accept something and you are not able to deliver on the required standard. I hope that the person that asked that question got the response that they needed to help them in their business. How do we improve on work-life balance as a woman? Wow, fantastic. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I work in Oando. For people that know me very well, I have other things I do. I sing. I do other stuff. And it is important. It is important. I cannot stress. It is very, very important that as a woman, you have a work-life balance. And so I will give my own personal example. How do I achieve that? One of the things I do, in as much as I have one life, but I try to compartmentalize what I do. So for example, I'm at work right now. I'm busy with work. I'm on this program. There were personal things I should have done or that I was doing before this program started. What I did was to put a call through to the person I was engaging to say, sorry, don't call me for the next so period because I'm going to be in a meeting and I won't be able to talk. Before coming to this program, there were things I had to ensure that I sought so that I'm able to concentrate and focus on what I'm doing. There are things this morning that I've delegated to other people in my team to say, you handle this because I'm going to be busy at this time. One of the things you must do as a woman is that to have work-life balance, you must ensure that you have your support system intact. You must be able to ensure that you focus on having your health also on a good track. What I mean by this is that if you've promised someone, oh, I'm going to do this for you between 5 and 7 p.m. this evening, for example, and other things are getting prolonged, and you realize that that 5 to 7 is not going to work, what you should do, because one of the things I also see women do is that, or people generally do is that, when they are not able to meet their obligations or make good their promise, some people turn off their phones or someone will be calling them and they won't pick. If you're a woman and because things just, happened unexpectedly, a client that you promised that you would deliver to them at 5 p.m., you are not able to do it, call them before that time to say, sorry, I'm not able to make 5. I will make 6 p.m. Is that okay by you? And you agree. But turning off your phone, not picking up their call, does not speak well of you as a business owner. So what then happens is that if you are not able to then prioritize and ensure that things are done properly, it then rubs off on your work-life balance because you are constantly under pressure. You are constantly um, delaying on certain things that you're supposed to do. You are constantly having people, speak to you in ways that you wouldn't like because you didn't make good on your promise. So, in having a work-life balance, it is important that you focus on yourself because if you are not in a good state, you won't be able to run that business. If you are sick, you won't be able to run that business. In fact, one of the things I do personally is that I schedule in my rest every day. I have an alarm set on my phone. In fact, let me give an example of what happened one day that really drove home this point for me. I woke up very early that morning and I have been working like since 6 a.m. And at about 12 noon, I looked at my phone and my battery was low. And I had to plug my phone to charge. And it dawned on me, if I'm recharging my battery, the battery of my phone, then it means that I, as the human being that has been working 6 a.m. till 12 noon, should take 10 minutes break. Should take 15 minutes break. Just step away from that work and calm down. Because really, if you are not in that good state of mind, there's no way you'll be able to deliver on the things that you're supposed to deliver in. So scheduling your rest, have your me time, ensure that you are okay so that you are able to work on that business. You're able to answer your mom when she calls. You're able to respond to your sibling when they need your attention. You're able to respond to your family when they need your attention. So that's it for me in ensuring work-life balance. In the few moments that we have remaining, we still have other questions which I will be looking, answering. But I just thought to quickly go back to some of the things that we said at the beginning in case somebody joined us late. At the beginning, we said that we have over 23 million women in business in Nigeria. That's a lot of people. And this is even by statistics. If you ask me, I'm sure that statistics did not consider the woman making a akara on the road. And out of these 23 million women, only 41% of them are able to, they are in the service sector. And only 20% of these businesses are able to compete in the formal sector. And this program today is to encourage you as a woman, help you look at the ways where you can then begin to play within the formal sector, where you put structures in place for your business. I have another question. It says, what do you think is the role of men in ensuring that women who are ambitious about their career goals achieve success? To the person that asked that question, if you look at whether a man or somebody else apart from yourself, in ensuring that you achieve your career goals, you're making a lot of mistakes. You can't afford to look at any other person. You can't afford to let the buck stop with somebody else when it comes to developing yourself and achieving your career goals in life. I remember personally, very early in my career, I worked with, like I said, when I introduced myself, I worked with BG um, in Nigeria. And one of the things we had in my office at the time was a career path chart. It was always on the wall in the office. I was a very junior staff within the contracts and procurement department at the time. And I always look at the chief procurement officer box at the top of the career ladder. And the question I ask myself every time is that how do I move from where I am to that chief procurement officer position? And I began to study, I began to research, and I realized, oh, there's a Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply in the UK where when you register as a member, you can then take some exams and then you become an MCIPS. After 10 years, you become a fellow and all of those things. And those are things that fueled my ambition. One, they say without vision, people perish. That's what the good book says. Without vision, people perish. And when we say perish, it means that they are not able to achieve their career goals. They are not able to get to that state they want in life. So how do you then develop your vision? Ask yourself, where do I want to be in the next 2 years? Let's even start. Where do I want to be in the next 6 months? Where do I want to be in the next 2 years? Where do I want to be in the next 5 years? You must be very clear about those. You must have specific answers for that. When you have answered those questions, then ask yourself, how do I get there? If he says getting to your desired goal in 2 years is taking ABC course, then by all means do so. But if you are waiting for a man, your mother, your father, to help you achieve that career goal, for some people, they are blessed to have people that cheer them on or people that actually mentor them and they don't give up on them. But if you are not in that category, you have to mentor yourself. You have to look at people and ask questions. You have to engage and ask yourself, how do I improve what I'm doing? How do I go to the next level? So that question that says, what's the role of men? Unfortunately, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It stops with you. It stops with you. All right. We have another question. It says, what are some of the challenges you faced early on in your career? And what sort of challenges do you face now? And how do you overcome them? All right. So early in my career, let's start with that. What were the challenges? I remember there was a time where no matter where I send my resume to, I never get called for any interview. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Is it that I don't know what I'm doing? And then I engaged someone and he asked for my resume and I sent it to him. And he called me and said, you see, that resume you sent me will get you nowhere. So in my career at the time, like I said, I never got called for, I was always writing application, 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 nothing happened. And when this person made this comment, I took it in good faith. And that's another thing. You must take criticisms in good faith. Even though the person saying it may say it the way that you don't like, but you must sit down and ask yourself, what's the meat of the conversation that I've just had with this person? And so I asked for help and he sent me some templates and I redid my resume. And it was like a magic wand. So the way you present yourself, because nobody sees you before they see your resume. So the way you even craft your resume, the way you do that business proposal, the way you whether it's physical copy or a soft copy, you don't put blurry pictures in a proposal and you expect anybody to, be attracted to it. As a woman in business, you have an Instagram page, and that your feed is just all over the place. You are not even putting any structure to it. Or if you can't do it, engage somebody. There are different tiers of people that can help you, put together a very appealing online presence. And you do it in a way that when anybody sees you, they're even attracted to it and they want to, you know, speak with you or work with you. So for me, presenting myself was one of the um, challenges I faced early on in my career. Another challenge I faced was because I work in the oil and gas. I work in the oil and gas sector, um, and it's a male-dominated industry. And one of the initial challenges I had was that I was always in the midst of men. And, sometimes if care is not taken, you can feel that intimidation. Like everybody around you, maybe in an office of 50 people, you are the only woman. And you must quickly, up your game, ensure that you are not constantly giving excuse around, oh, sorry, I'm a woman. I need to go and do this. Oh, I'm a woman. No, get the help you need to get. So those were things I had to quickly do for myself. Ensure that the resources I need to put in place to ensure that when I'm at work, I focus on my work and I'm not constantly asking for excuses to be away. I put those things in place. I have a good, you ensure that your support system, whether it's your immediate family or friends, or make sure you have a good support system. And that's how I was able to overcome some of these challenges. Right now, the question still says that, and what sort of challenges do I face now, and how do I overcome them? Right now, one of my biggest challenges is that sometimes I feel like an octopus. Like I have my hands in 10 things, I have my hand in 8 things. When I was introducing myself, I said I'm the head of supply chain for the oil and gas business. We have other businesses within Oando that I'm also overseeing. We have partners that we are working with, different JV partners that we're working with. I'm also a mother. I'm a wife. I also have my music that I do. So I'm juggling so many things around. But like I said, settle down, plan yourself, plan your time, allocate time to the different things you need to do, and develop yourself so that something that you should spend 10 hours doing, by developing yourself and having that presence of mind, you can achieve it in shorter period. We have just about 2 minutes to round up, and we still have a lot of questions. Um, Unfortunately, we won't be able to take these questions, but we've noted them. And like I said, this is just one of many programs that we're going to have. And in those future programs, we will be able to address those questions. In rounding up, I want to thank everyone that has joined us today. You have the 1,001 things you could be doing, but you've spent time to join us. Thank you so much. And you've made this very interactive for me. We still have loads of questions unanswered. Thank you for joining. Thank you to Oando for this opportunity to, anchor this program. Like I said, we have other things coming up, and this will be on our social media pages so that you can participate in future. In rounding up, my name is Modupe Oyeneyin, Head Supply Chain and Services for Oando, and it's been a pleasure being on this journey with you. Thank you, and see you some other time. Bye for now.